and welcome to episode 2 of Pleasure Equality. This is a podcast exploring why some people are able or allowed to experience more sexual pleasure than others. It's a huge topic that's impacted by gender inequality, sexism, patriarchal oppression, and like a million more things. Real quick, I'd like to add that this is an intersectional feminist podcast. So, while I'm still focusing on normalizing the conversation around female pleasure, we will be talking about so much more in future episodes. Also, email me at pleasureequality@gmail.com if you want to talk. Okay, in episode 2, you'll hear from my next guest, Anna. She's using a fake name. You get to listen in as Anna and I continue the discussion of female pleasure in the context of bad hookups and speculate about how those hookups could be better. I start off by asking Anna, what's Tinder like as a university student?
Well, pretty much everyone who's single is on it, who are like my age. So quite often I'm scrolling through and like every third, fourth person is, well, okay, maybe not that many. Maybe like every 10th person is someone I know, especially because Cardiff is pretty small and Cardiff Uni is like quite compact. So yeah, I know quite a lot of people on there, which is quite funny. Or then even if you don't know them, they'll be in Cardiff Uni. Like there's so many people on Cardiff Uni on there. Yeah, once actually I matched with this guy on Tinder. And I was like messaging him a little bit, not even very much. And then he messaged me the next day and he was like, oh, were you in the biochem buildings today? And I was like, oh my God. And I had been and I was like, this is really creepy. But yeah.
Oh, that's really funny. Anna, welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. Where are you from?
I'm from Wales.
Where is Wales?
It's next to England and it's not the same country, it's a different country.
Got it.
Contrary to a popular belief.
Yeah, I had to look it up.
Well, at least you know now, it's fine.
Yeah, now I know for sure where Wales is. It's one of those places where I always thought I knew where it was, but I wasn't 100% sure. Kind of like where we are right now.
Yeah.
We're recording in Skopje, Macedonia, which is just north of Greece, in case anyone is wondering.
Something I also had to look up.
So one of the reasons I want to be doing this podcast is because I feel like with hookup culture, there's this really like unfair, I don't know how to say it, unfair dispersion of pleasure between men and women during heterosexual sex. And I just feel like during a casual hookup, it's pretty difficult to get what you want out of it as a woman. I'm trying to talk to people about if they want to share their experiences with it or if they have any differing opinions or anything you have to say about it. So I'd be happy to get your thoughts.
Okay, well, for me personally, I think sex is a lot better when you're comfortable with a person. So I was with my ex-boyfriend for a year and a half and we broke up just before I went to uni. And then I sort of got like drunk with freedom and I slept with like a couple of guys within those first few months. But they were all like either one night stands or like I slept with them a couple of times. But it was always a bit uncomfortable and it wasn't really that good. And then I started seeing this guy and I decided to like not sleep with him straight away. And then I think we saw each other like 5 times before we slept together. And actually then it was so much better because I was more comfortable with him. So yeah, I think. But also like one night stands can be fun. Like sometimes it's fun to just say fuck it and do it. But I think generally it's better when you're more comfortable with the person.
Yeah, I guess it's just difficult with someone you just meet no matter what.
Yeah.
Have there been any moments during like a hookup with like a brand new person where it went really well and he did things where you were like, this is great. Like, this is a good way to handle not knowing this person but still like achieving these goals?
No, not really actually. The guys I slept with casually didn't really seem to give much of a shit about me at all and sort of only in it for them. But also I think that's because most of them were uni students, so they were like 20 years old, 19, 20. So probably maybe not that experienced, or like kind of selfish at that age. I don't know. I feel like older guys are less selfish in bed.
Yeah, less selfish lovers.
Mm-hmm.
When did you feel like you started learning what you needed or really wanted to know about sex and sexuality?
I don't know. I guess I kind of learnt it from my peers in secondary school, just word of mouth, And then I guess my mum's pretty open. She's German, so I think that's like a factor. But yeah, she like, I guess she kind of spoke to me about it a few times when I was younger. I didn't really approach her about it as I got older because I thought it was a bit embarrassing to speak to your mum about it. But yeah, I think I just learned it from my peers really, like through secondary school and from TV.
Yeah. Based on some conversations we've had prior to recording, it sounds like you and your friends are always pretty open about the topic.
Yeah. So my flatmates and I are pretty close. But even when we'd known each other for like a day, we were already like talking about sex and boyfriends, ex-boyfriends, guys we were seeing, what their dicks looked like, literally. No boundaries at all.
Do you ever talk about it with guy friends?
Yeah, but not nearly as much and not in as much detail. It's just kind of like, I guess it's more teasing. Like if one of my flatmates, my guy flatmates, well actually one of them has a girlfriend, so it's only the one. If he's like stayed over at girls' house or something, we like tease him about it and like, oh, how was it? And ask about details and stuff, which is kind of probably just more to embarrass him. But yeah, but I think if we're like in a group, we don't like shy away from the topic. I think we're all pretty open about it. And also quite often when we go out at pre-drinks, we play Never Have I Ever. So a lot of things come out during Never Have I Ever.
Yeah. So we also recently were talking about how there's this lad culture.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm introduced to you.
Yeah, which I feel like we have that in the US too, but I'm trying to figure out exactly what we call it. It sounds a little bit like bro culture.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's a good comparison.
Some of the things you were telling me were really alarming about like men's attitudes about casual sex and like just everything, using protection, like all of the things.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know what I even want out of this conversation. Maybe like if you have like an announcement to make to people about it, or really anything. I feel like people need to talk about the incredible levels that these people are interacting at.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of guys, especially guys in uni, like they just like spur each other on, and they sort of have this attitude towards girls, and then they see someone else doing it and they think it's okay, and it's just they're like egging each other on, and the whole, like quite often it's linked to like sports teams. So like the rugby lads, they're all like whoa, and they all like like to sleep around with those girls, and it's just, yeah, I think it's because they're all together. It kind of makes them act like each other. I don't know. I think maybe like hopefully they'll grow out of it, but at the moment it's kind of annoying, and it's not even an excuse. Like it's not an excuse at all. It's
An excuse for what?
for their behaviour, as in I'm just explaining why they behave like that. But yeah, I think they need to grow out of it.
And you're like aware of this like behavior just from your own observation? Like you don't even need to talk to them, it's just obvious? Or from your personal experiences, you've witnessed it too?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, quite often individually they're really nice people. Like both my flatmates, they're really nice guys, but and then they can come out with the stupidest things, or like behave in the stupidest way, and I'm just like, how are you the same person? Like how can you be so kind and caring? Because they really care about us girls. They're quite protective, and then they can like be so like laddie, and be such like twats sometimes. It really irritates me, actually.
Have your conversations with your friends about sexual pleasure, like how good the sex was, has that conversation changed from like when you first started having sex until now among your friends? Or especially like from right before you were having sex up until now?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started having sex, we didn't really know much about it. Like, I know when I first started having sex, it was awful, and I just sort of thought, oh, this is what it's like then, you know. It's kind of like really underwhelmed. But yeah, no, definitely as we've gotten older and like more experienced, I guess, and even just like know more about sex, we talk about it more and like maybe give each other advice, you know, if like something's worked well for us, or you know. So yeah, no, definitely it's changed.
I'm inspired to ask that question because I've had this personal journey of like not talking about so many details with my friends for a long time. Sometimes we would, and it was really fun, but a lot of times we would just never talk about this kind of thing. And then we started talking about it, and now that we've all been sexually active for a number of years, it's really helpful to talk about it with other
definitely.
people. Like getting right into the details.
Oh, yeah.
All the details. And I wish I'd been talking about it sooner, really. Like, I've been having sex a lot longer than I've been having even decent sex. I'm going to edit that part out. Do you usually go into like a casual hookup with a goal of like definitely having an orgasm?
Well, I guess you like that's always the goal when you're having sex. But I know that it's fairly unlikely. Like if it's with a new guy, I've only ever like orgasmed with a boyfriend because you know I've slept with him like a lot of times. But yeah.
Wow, wait, so you've only had orgasms during sex with a boyfriend, never during a hookup?
No, it takes a while for me, like with a guy. Yeah.
That's so crazy. It makes me so angry because a guy has an orgasm probably every time.
I know.
Unless...
But see, quite often it is down to the guy. But there was two guys that like it probably like it would have happened, but maybe I didn't feel comfortable. I did feel comfortable. I don't know. Maybe I think I just take a while like to get like really comfortable with a guy. Enough to orgasm. I don't know.
And by a while, you mean like a period of time getting to know someone, not like that one night.
Like, oh no, yeah, a period of time to get to know someone. Yeah, but then also, you know, you're taking a while, and then you just get so like conscious of how long you're taking, and then like completely puts you off.
You mean during the time,
during
in
sex.
the moments that you're having sex? Yeah, that's an interesting topic because that's a huge obstacle for me. I think I'm just taking forever, and I kind of give up.
It completely turns you off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're so like conscious.
Yeah, and just to be totally specific, I mean like when I'm having sex with a guy, I think I'm taking just way too long. I'm just not gonna have an orgasm or anything tonight. This is taking too long.
And then you're just like, okay, you can finish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which is really like unromantic.
It is. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but I see it in guys as well quite often. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking really long, or I think everyone's just like that because maybe they think they're being greedy or something. I don't know.
So you notice it with guys too?
But I think it's more with girls because girls just tend to take longer.
I guess it's nice if your partner does things to make you feel comfortable taking your time, huh? And maybe that goes both ways.
Yeah.
That's a nice attitude to have. We all should just
be more patient.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you guys have I've heard that in the UK and Europe in general, everyone is more relaxed about like nudity and TV.
Oh, not in the UK.
Oh,
no,
okay.
in the UK they're like very prude. In Europe they're like very relaxed about it.
Oh, okay.
But in the UK, no. Like historically in the UK, people are very like, oh, you know, like.
I would say we're pretty prudish about that kind of thing in the US too.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's everyone from Europe and the UK knows all these things about American pop culture, and I like know nothing about Europe and the UK, so I'm learning. So yeah, as I'm sure you're aware, we're like super prudish about it too. At some point, I want to give you an opportunity to, if there's like a message you want to give to other young women, or if you have like any observations you want to share about like your own revelations about like having more healthy sexual encounters.
Okay, so what I've learned from my first year at uni, although like one-night stands can be fun and sometimes in the moment like you really want to do it, I found that when you're sleeping with someone like regularly, it's so much better. And like I'm not telling people not to have one night stands because I don't think there's anything wrong with them. Just from my personal experience, it's the sex is really bad usually.
Oh. Yeah.
Moving forward, any like kind of personal goals or things that you're interested in like moving towards with your relationships?
I think one thing is for me is like my attitude. So even though I don't actually think it's wrong for girls to sleep with any like number of guys, in my head I'm very critical of myself for like the amount of guys. It's not even that I've slept with like 9 guys, which I don't think is that bad for a 20-year-old, and I've been sexually active for like 3 years. That's like 3 guys a year, which really isn't that much. But I think I need to work on my attitude and be okay with that, and like not stop myself from sleeping with someone if I want to sleep with them, just because of the number of people I've already slept with, you know. Because for guys, it's really, they don't give a shit. In fact, for them, it's a good thing to sleep with lots of girls, you know. They're like, woo, you know, like lad culture.
Lad culture.
But yeah, no, for me, I think I need to, because I like can't, like when I think about it, I don't. Like if it was anyone else, I would be like, no, like obviously it doesn't matter. But I'm just really self-critical about it, you know, for me. So I think I need to work on that and like actually tell myself it's fine. It doesn't matter at all, you know?
Yeah, why do you think we think that? I've gone through that journey myself too.
I think because like we're constantly told it's bad, or like not by my peers. My peers are always like, what the hell, no, it's fine. I don't really know where it comes from. I think girls are just supposed to be pure, and I suppose like the whole like slut thing, like people get called a slut if they slept with lots of people. Yeah, so for example, one of my flatmates friends, she has really slept with a lot of people. She slept with probably like 30 guys since coming to uni, maybe more, like quite a lot
in 1 year. Well, rock on.
Yeah, and I know that a couple of people have like spoken about her, like not any of her friends, but there was one instance where my flatmate was walking with her, and these group of guys were like, "Oh, you've slept with him, and you've slept with that other friend as well," and like shouted that as she walked past, which is just horrible.
Like that just happened this year. Guys did that.
Yeah.
Yelled that out loud.
Yeah.
In front of other people.
Which is horrible, and like it doesn't. Like, why do they even care, you know? And why do they care enough to
publicly
try
to publicly shame?
But I guess it's just little things like that, you know, when someone gets called a slut, or oh, that's actually really slutty, or maybe shouldn't have done that. It just kind of rubs off on you, even if you don't want it to. Like I don't have that opinion at all. But then for myself, I'm like, there's a little voice at the back of my head that's like, oh, what will people think of you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally know what you mean. Go ahead.
And maybe like with like future like boyfriends, maybe, when I suppose lots of people have that conversation, like how many people have you slept with, and I wouldn't want them to be like, oh, that's quite a lot, you know.
But why are we even asking in the first place?
I don't know.
Isn't that funny? That's like a common question, like in Never Have I Ever. Yeah. Oh, that's really depressing. Yeah, it just goes to show that we have like a lot of work to do, even though it's 2016.
Definitely.
Okay, you don't have to share this if you don't want to.
Okay.
But I would be really like, if you can think of a way to explain what made one of your bad hookups a bad hookup.
Okay, so this one time I got really drunk. And I went to the Students' Union, and I went home with this guy like pretty much straight away after like 10 minutes, just because I think that night I was just like, I'm gonna go home with someone, you know, and it's kind of your mission.
Yeah.
And he was pretty good looking. He was a rugby player, so he was a lad. And I went home with him, and he literally, like, it's like he was using me as his hand. Do you know what I mean? It was all about him.
Yeah. As in, like, jerking him off.
Oh, yeah. Like, as if I was a human hand. Like, literally, he didn't give a shit about me. It was all about him. And I kept being like, oh, my God, just slow down. Like, what are you doing? And then, so I wasn't on the pill at the time. So I was really, like I think I probably would have insisted on a condom anyway, but especially like from like my impression of how many girls he must have been sleeping with, but so I insisted, and so he was like, oh, I don't really want to, it feels really shit, and I was like, just, you need to put one on, otherwise I'm not sleeping with you. And then he put one on, and then he like took it off during, and I noticed, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you need to wear one. But like, had I been drunker, or had I not been paying as much attention or whatever, I wouldn't have known, and like I could have gotten pregnant or got an STI, or you know. And he just didn't seem to give a shit. Like, it was so disrespectful, and I just, yeah, that was not a good experience.
Yeah.
He obviously had no respect for me, so.
Anna and I recorded this conversation last June, about 7 months ago. And when I finally started editing this episode, I decided to call Anna and ask her if she had any new input based on what we talked about.
In our earlier conversation, I'd asked you if you had any personal goals or things you wanted to move towards in your relationships. And one thing you said that you wanted to work on was your attitude about not being self-critical of how many people you wanted to or decided to sleep with. And I wanted to follow up and ask you if your attitude has changed.
So that was back in June, and then when I went home after traveling, I started seeing this guy pretty much straight away. From I think like August, didn't see anyone in between that, and I'm still seeing him now. So it's not really something that I've thought about because I've only slept with him since then. I haven't had to think about how many people I'm sleeping with really. But I think one thing that has changed is that I would be a lot less willing now to have a one night stand, to sleep with someone straight away. I think I'd want to be dating them for a while first. So I think maybe I'd be able to justify it more. I think the reason I was critical of the people I slept with was because, not that I regretted the people I slept with, well, kind of, but not like really, just that I didn't think it was the best situation to sleep with them or the best people to sleep with, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Like for you personally or something?
Yeah, just because it didn't really like make me feel very good. Like some of them, I was just like, why did I do that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Wow, well, that's really interesting. I've been thinking about this word one night stand and everything, and how it means like, okay, basically a one night stand means you have sex with a person who you don't know very well one time, and then you're probably not going to sleep with them again. It's literally for one time.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, is that like, I can't articulate. What I want to get at is, I wonder if it seems to be fun for heterosexual male partners, like if that can be a totally legitimately enjoyable experience for them, or if maybe they don't like them very much either, and we're all just fooling ourselves thinking that.
Yeah, you need to speak to some guys.
Yeah, I need to.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always assumed guys liked them.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, guys find it a lot easier to come. Like, they probably will come from a one night stand, whereas girls are unlikely to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's not the only thing that's like not fun about them, I guess.
That's
I don't know.
something I wanted to ask. Like, what all is not fun about them?
I think it's the whole thing again attached to like the stigma, like slut shaming. So for girls, it's sort of like, oh no, I had a one night stand, and for guys, they get more of a, well, hey, well done, you pulled, you know.
Right.
So I think it's more sort of like shameful for girls, even if they themselves don't really think that. There's still just an underlying, I don't know, attitude there, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that underlying attitude impacts the ability to enjoy a one night stand in the moment?
Yeah, I probably, yeah. I mean, I definitely think that, not to get all Freudian, but I definitely think there's like always sort of an unconscious mind going on Yeah, probably. I'm like that's quite likely. I think, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just speculating too. And you're right. I need to talk to some guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna, for recording with me.
You're welcome.
This has been episode 2 of Pleasure Equality. I'm still wondering how much the fear of stigma inhibits our ability to enjoy hookups or one-night stands. If you have an opinion or data you'd like to share with me, or if you just want to talk about it, email me at pleasureequality@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to episode 2, and thank you to my guest Anna for speaking with me. Music in this episode is by Will Brown. You can find him at willbrowngetdown.com. All information can also be found in the description for this episode.